I'm Coach Samson Dubina, and as you know, today we've got some great content. And we're talking to you about 5 different things. The first thing we're going to talk about today is writing out a game plan. So many of you tonight are going to be making New Year's resolutions. And hopefully some of these resolutions have to do with table tennis. So when you're writing out a plan for the year, it starts with number 1, selecting some goals. What would be some goals? Maybe it's to learn a special skill, maybe like a new serve. Maybe it's to have confidence in a skill that you already have, maybe like your backhand loop. Maybe it's a rating goal. Maybe it's a title goal that you want to win a certain event at the US Nationals, or you want to win a certain event at the state championship. Whatever it may be, write out a plan, but the plan starts with the goal. Okay? If your goal is not very high, it's just to kind of maintain what you got, okay, then your plan's going to be a little bit light. If you've got really good aspirations for the year, which I hope you do, then your daily goals are going to be a little bit more intense. So start off, grab your paper and pencil, and make a plan. Write out the plan, starting with the goals. Now, based on the goals, ask yourself, how close am I currently to reaching those goals, and what steps do I need to take? So one of the things that people have to consider, including yourself, is can I reach these goals on my own, or would it be better with the assistance of a coach? And what can the coach offer? Can he teach me something new? Can he check out what I currently have and give me some tips to work on my own? Do I need practice partners? Do I need people to play with on a daily basis? Whether it be one-on-one in my basement or whether it be with a group. So think to yourself on that, and then the plan should not only include the goal, the plan should include some kind of advice from a coach. Then the plan should also include competition. See, this is where a lot of people get it wrong, is they'll practice a lot of the same thing, whether it be at the club or at their house, and then they go into the tournament or into the competition, and then they fail, and they're like, it didn't work like I thought. See, this is the misperception, is that your first competition, you'll be able to implement it fully. Usually it takes 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 or 20 competitions in order to really feel comfortable with that particular skill. So, for example, right now I'm not playing many tournaments, but back when I was playing a number of tournaments, usually I tried to play at least 2 tournaments a month. After I played 2 or 3 or 4 tournaments in a row, I felt like I was really in peak condition for tournaments. So as you're developing new things in your game, realize that it's progressive. First, you have to be able to understand what you need to develop. Then you need to be able to actually practice it. Then you need to be able to implement it in practice matches. Then you've got to be able to have the confidence to use it in tournaments, realizing this does take time. The next thing I want to mention tonight is about developing a playing system or a style. A lot of times people want to be good on everything in general. Moderately good serves, moderately good returns, moderately good pushes, moderately good blocks, moderately good loops, moderately good smashes, and moderately good everything. That's fine, but developing some strengths, some ways of winning points is critically important. See, you cannot actually earn a single point. The only way to win a point is if your opponent misses. In other sports, we can earn points by hitting a grand slam or shooting a foul shot. There's different ways to earn points, but the only way in table tennis to earn a point is if your opponent misses. So you really need to be able to have strengths to force errors from your opponent. Now, a lot of times people come to me for a lesson and they say, Samson, shouldn't I fix my weak points? Sure, that's good. But as you're writing out a plan, I want you to develop strengths, and your playing system should be developed around your strengths. So take out your paper and pencil and write down a few things that you currently do that are fairly good. Maybe your deep, jumping topspin serve is really high level. Maybe you can structure your game around that. Or maybe your backhand push is really high level. Or maybe your forehand smash is really high level. Or maybe you have some unusual side spin balls that you can do under the table when you're lobbing. Whatever it may be, think about your current playing system and think about your current strengths and think about how you can continue to strengthen those and set those up more. See, most of the time, that strength, that thing that you have, you have to work on the shot previous to that and then the shot after that. So let's say, for example, forehand loop against backspin was my strength, okay? So I have to think to myself, what shot goes directly before that? Maybe a heavy backspin serve, half long. Why not short? Well, maybe from the short one, they're able to push short, and so I'm less likely to get it. Maybe if I serve too long, then they're likely to loop, and I'm not likely to get that. So maybe a half long, heavy backspin serve would set up my forehand loop against backspin. Then I have to think to myself, you know what? I usually loop pretty high and pretty spinny, and then their block comes fairly high. Does that set up the next shot? What should I do after? Maybe on that ball I should be back a little bit. Maybe on that ball I should get my hand high. Maybe on that ball, should I smash? Should I loop? So the more you think about what the strength is, and the more you think about the shot right before and the shot right after, the better you can understand a playing system. If you don't have any strengths at all, then I would definitely talk to your coach about it. But most people, generally speaking, most people, even my 6-year-old kid, my 7-year-old kid, my 9-year-old kid, all my kids, they naturally have some strengths. Some of the kids are a little bit better as far as placement. Some have a lot more power. Some of my kids, they know how to generate a little bit more spin. So the thing that you have to think to yourself is, okay, what current strengths do I have? And then base your playing system off of that. The third thing I want to mention tonight is you need to be developing new serves and new returns. For some of you, you've got a good variety of different serves, so you don't need to develop any new ones. You just have to think, how can I currently strengthen the ones that I have, develop more control, be able to control the bounce better, maybe developing some new variations of those serves. So tonight, I'm gonna do a short serving demo on 3 of the most common serves. And I want you to think through how you can develop one of these 3 serves a little bit better this year. So I'm going to demonstrate it, and then we're going to go back to my lecture here. All right, so the first one that I'm going to demonstrate is forehand pendulum serve. So with forehand pendulum serve, it's in a semicircular motion like this. So a lot of times people will wonder and they'll say, is that backspin or topspin? I saw your motion and it looks fairly similar. So really the answer to that is you have to be able to tell at what point in the motion they hit the ball, or I hit the ball. So if I'm coming here, like toward my body like this, that would be short side spin. So if I'm coming here, that's short side spin. If I hit the ball when it's here as my racket is going forward, this one is going to be short backspin. And then if I hit the ball here as my racket's going back a little bit this way, then it's going to be short topspin. So it's very important to be able to tell that I hit the ball here, or here, or here. Okay? So backspin, I'm going to hit the ball here as my racket is moving forward. Side spin, I'm going to hit the ball here as my racket is moving to the side this way. And then topspin, I'm going to hit the ball here as my racket is kind of coming back toward my armpit here. Okay. So the defining question is, can you serve it both short, medium, and long? How's the motion different for the long versus the short? On the short one, I'm actually kind of going around or skimming around the outside of the ball. I'm trying to use more of the top sheet and I'm trying to get more brushing. On the long one, the motion is fairly similar, but I'm trying to hit more through the core or through the center of the ball to give me more driving speed. So the short backspin, I'm just brushing the ball directly under it. For the longer backspin, I'm trying to hit deeper into the wood, which makes the ball go a lot deeper. The common misperception that people have is that they think that you have to swing faster on the long serve than on the short serve. And it's actually not true. You just have to change the feeling or the action on the ball. One, you're hitting a little bit more under it, and you're actually going around it a little bit, whereas on the long one, you're holding your angle more stable, and you're hitting more through the core. Same principle on the top spin and on the side spin. Side spin, I'm going a little bit around the ball here, which helps keep it a little bit shorter, and then the deep side spin, I'm hitting directly through the core of the ball, which takes it longer. Same thing on the top spin, I'm coming a little bit around the ball here, peeling around the outside of the ball instead of short top spin. On the long topspin, I'm hitting directly more through the core of the ball, which takes it deeper. So that's forehand pendulum serve. The next serve I'm going to be doing is forehand hook serve. Now there's a few different ways to do it, but the basic motion is, well, before I talk about the basic motion, I have to talk about the grip. Ideally for the grip on the hook serve, you bring your finger back a little bit like that, so your racket is actually shifted a little bit more toward the finger, and you're going to be cutting down this way for backspin, and then for topspin, you're going to be doing a little bit of this. Okay? So backspin, I cut down the ball like that, and then topspin, I go around the ball and up just a little bit like that for the topspin. So topspin and backspin. Now, you will see some players that it's fairly obvious that they're going like this for topspin and this for backspin. So you will see some players that do this. That extra movement here, it just helps to hide the motion to disguise if it's backspin or topspin. So you may see some of that. But the basic motion is side spin, topspin, and side spin, backspin. Same principle on the short serve versus the long serve. On the short serve, I'm going more around the ball. On the long serve, I'm going more straight through the ball. So the motion is actually fairly similar on the short, and on the long, it's just the wrist action isn't going around the ball so much as it's going through the ball on the long serve. So watch when I serve long hook serve, watch how my hand is going more this way. I didn't actually swing that fast. And then for short hook serve, I'm going a little bit around the ball, which makes it go quite a bit shorter. So short, going around the ball like this. And then long, I'm hitting straight through the core of the ball, which gets it to go deeper. The last serve I'm going to be demonstrating is forehand reverse pendulum. Now, the basic thing that you have to be able to do really well on this is you've got to be able to have good wrist flexibility and to be able to get your racket back. The more you can get your racket back, the easier it is to get snapped from here. The common pitfall that people do is they hit the ball too far in front of them. You really want to be able to hit the ball fairly far back in your armpit. The snap here is where you're going to get the most spin. Hit close here to the leading edge, and you're going to come down this way. So for backspin, it's this, and then for topspin, you're actually pulling back a little bit. So I'm going to stand at the side so you can see it. On backspin, I'm hitting here as I'm going forward. On the side spin, topspin, I'm actually pulling back this way. So most people wrongly try to get topspin this way. You don't have much snap. Your wrist has lost all of its tension. You actually get topspin by pulling back this way. You really want to keep your wrist bent the whole time. Backspin and topspin. I'm going to demonstrate. Backspin and topspin. You can see that on the topspin I'm pulling back this way. On the backspin I'm going here. But really for the reverse pendulum, like I said, you have to work on your wrist flexibility to get it back. And you want to hit both of them here, backspin here, and then topspin here, you're pulling back. Same principle on the long and the short. For the short serve, again, we're brushing the ball lightly here. On the long serve, we're trying to hit deeper into the wood. So when I serve long reverse pendulum, I'm not actually swinging that much faster. I'm just trying to make more of a solid contact to get the ball to go deep. That was my edge. Deep. And then I'm going a little bit more around the ball here for the short one. Deep. And short. And short. All right, so those are 3 serves. Check out one of those. Go back and watch this YouTube video again. Check it out. Let me know if you have any questions. And try to develop at least one new version of one of your serves. Now, I don't recommend developing too many different versions. Why? Because a lot of times people have 20 different serves in the works. I want to be able to do this, and this, and this, and this, and this, and this. So many different ones that they only spend a minute or 2 on each one each day. So even though you want to develop some new ones, be persistent in actually developing your current serves as well. Why? Because once you develop one high-level serve, it's easier once you understand the feeling to use that one as kind of a blueprint and be able to repeat it. Let's say, for example, if you're a 1600 level player and you dedicate this whole year to developing a serve that's 2100 level. What ends up happening once you develop one serve that's 2100 level, it's easier to get all your other serves to 2000 and 2100. Whereas if you're a 1600 player and you just generally work on 20 different serves and you get them all up to 1700, it's really not that significant. So even though I recommend developing maybe one new version this year, spend significant time developing one excellent serve, and then using this principle of how you develop that one, then the other serves will be able to increase over time. Two more things I want to talk about, and then I'll let you go tonight. The fourth thing today is being mentally tough. Being mentally tough. The number one question that people ask me as a table tennis coach is, why is it that I can play great in practice, but I can't do anything in tournaments? I play really bad in tournaments. And the defining reason that they can't is these types of players practice with one mindset and then play tournaments with a completely different mindset. So the problem that they run into when you practice with one mindset and play tournaments with a different mindset is your practice doesn't end up looking like your tournaments, and your tournaments don't end up looking like your practice. So the first thing you have to be able to do is you have to, number one, be able to understand what you do well in practice and ask yourself, is it possible that I can force myself to do that in tournaments? And you have to ask yourself, what is it that I'm currently doing well? You know, I had 5 good wins last year. What's the common denominator on those 5 wins? What did I do well? And what can I do in practice to make sure at the next tournament that I continue doing those 5 things? It's not bad to watch videos of Timo Boll, Hugo Calderano, and Fen Zhendong. It's not bad to watch videos of them, but does that actually give you confidence watching videos of other people and dreaming like, oh, I wish I played like him? Of course not, right? But if you think about your own game, watch videos of your own game, think about your own strengths, this helps you to be mentally tough, knowing that it was you. You were the one that did it, so if you're the one that did it, believe in the skills that you currently have. Believe in the strengths that you currently have. Remember those matches that you did well and ask yourself, how can I be practicing those things on a daily basis so I can repeat that match? The problem with most people when I ask them this question is they say, I don't know. I don't know what I did good. Everything just went together and I played great. Well, that's good, but it's important to understand your performance so that you can understand how to have a repeatable performance. The last thing that I need to mention today, before we wrap up this video, is how to implement your strengths. Well, like I just mentioned, you first have to understand what your strengths are. Then you need to be able to design drills so that you can specifically practice those strengths. Let's say, for example, in my greatest tournament of my life, instead of playing counter loop from far from the table, somehow I was playing counter loop from close to the table. So if I was playing counter loop from close to the table, maybe I should be practicing that. Maybe I can practice that with the power pong robot. Maybe I can practice it with multi-ball. Maybe I can ask my opponent or my practice partner, hey, can you loop to me so I can practice looping my forehand from earlier? Because usually I'm a little bit off the table. But on those 5 good wins that I had this year, I was looping from over the table. So as you're thinking how to be mentally tough, it starts by understanding your strengths. How do you implement your strengths? You practice those, you focus your mind on what you did well, and you just continue to try to implement those things like you did on your best matches. Most people wrongly, they think about, write about, talk about, blah, 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 about how bad they played, or their worst losses, or how they choked, or how they're gonna do bad in the next tournament. How can you have confidence with this mindset? Confidence is based on 2 things. Number 1 is having the skills. Number 2 is implementing those skills. If you got any questions, go ahead and send me a message on YouTube. I'll be checking my messages on YouTube tonight and also tomorrow. Send me a message and I'll try to get back to you in the next day or 2. Also, I wanted to mention that we're about an hour and a half to 2 hours away from the conclusion of our annual donation campaign. So far, we've raised $47,000, and we have 13,000 more to go here before midnight. So if you enjoyed all the free content, if you've come here and you enjoy our programs, I really hope that you will support us. A lot of table tennis clubs around the country, East Coast and West Coast, they have huge financial backers, and these financial backers make sure that all their fixed costs are covered and make sure that they can continue growing the program. The Samson Dubina Table Tennis Academy relies on donations. So any donations that you can make really do help us out. We want to continue to have better programs in the future. And as I've said many times throughout all the advertisement this year, we also want to be able to help table tennis throughout the country, because we feel that as we grow and we're able to share these ideas, that table tennis can really grow throughout the country. So if you have questions, feel free to send me a message, and the donation link is on my website, samsondubina.com. Thanks for watching, and I hope you have a great New Year's. See you soon.